Hey everyone, what's up? My name is Doug, and really wanted to talk to you about another topic related to baseball caps, and that is shrinking your cap. I think everybody knows the feeling of maybe you pick something up at the store, can't get it back, or you've broken it in. Maybe you curve the visor and it fits differently. So maybe you got a little bit too much room in the cap that you ended up with. So I've got one video out that really shows you how to use moisture and heat. A spray bottle and a hair dryer to carefully shrink a cap, but that'll only get you so far. That provides minor differences without changing the look of the cap. It's not as damaging as when you throw it in a clothes dryer or anything like that after the cap's gotten wet. But this is another way that I wanted to talk about, and that is just physically taking some of the room away from the cap. So you've got a sweatband inside the cap, so there are a few ways out there that you can augment the sweatband, add a little bit of material to that. And I found one that I think works really well, and it's already a material that's good for body contact, so it's pretty safe to put in your caps, and it will generally last a little bit longer than some of the other options that are out there. So this is the stuff that I have had around the house for a little while, and this is a Dr. Scholl's product. Sorry my packet's so messy, but you buy a little bit of this and it goes a long way. But this is something called mole foam. I've heard it called moleskin before. It's often recommended for hikers that get blisters or calluses that can get really painful on your feet. This is pretty interesting stuff because it's really kind of a nice felt feel on the outside, but it's compressible, and it's got kind of a medium density foam underneath it. So it's got kind of this felt outer shell, and then these are always adhesively backed as well. So if you Google or type into Amazon or something hat sizing, you'll find a lot of open cell foams that are out there that are meant to be stuffed inside a cap. I've actually kind of gotten the idea that I prefer something like this because the density of foam's a little bit higher. It's meant for skin contact, so even though it might not directly contact your skin, I kind of like the fact that this is approved for skin contact, and it's just probably a little bit safer material overall to put in into your caps. So let's just go ahead and take a look, and I'll show you how you can cut this and where to put it to help really effectively shrink your cap. All right, so this is the stuff we're going to need. Basically got my mole foam and my scissors. Just going to put the cap aside for a second and show you how easily this cuts. So I'm just going to take this strip that I already had. Just simple scissors. There we go. Simple. And this is really the nice kind of felt or flannel feel that you get here. This is what makes it so good for using in hiking situations. But as we come back to the cap, the other thing I can show you is a little bit how much that squeezes. So kind of cool. It's just a nice kind of mid-density foam that has some give in it. But what I'd recommend before, like I showed you, is just flipping this down, flipping this open, and then exposing the self-adhesive layer. So I'm peeling that back. And then I'm going to go symmetrical on either side of the Batterman, the MLB logo. I'm just going to put that right in, and I kind of cut this to fit within the confines of the major seams on the sweatband already, so it kind of fits within that boundary. Then I'm just going to come to the other side, use the other strip that I cut. And then the cool thing is that when you go to flip this in, then it's just kind of there. Now you might get a little bit of read through, that's why you could go a little bit longer with the strips, or you could do one large one or something like that. But it all depends on how much size you're trying to get out of that cap. So what I would recommend is just start out with bigger strips. Then you can kind of use the adhesive, just peel it off, get it back in there. But just be a little careful when you're peeling these off because the adhesive is strong enough to pull some of the liner material that's inside the normal sweatband away. You can see kind of the black coming away with that. I would say don't panic. It's a thin layer of material anyways, and it's really just insulate the foam that's in the sweatband. But it's kind of a fibrous material, so you might pull a few strings out and everything, but if you just push it back in place, it'll be fine. The nice thing about the adhesive is once you get this in, you're going to wear it a few times, I'm sure, and once that gets pressed on, it's probably not going to move very much, and plus it's trapped within the sweatband. So that's pretty much it. So that's all you have to do, and again, just play around with how big you need the mold foam, and I'd stay away from putting it on either side of the cap. You don't want any bad visual effects from that. So there you go. The most non-noticeable way to do that is kind of take it out of the length of the cap. Because if you were to take one of these mold foam squares, put it inside here and maybe the other side, what you're going to get is kind of that look where the sides are sticking out a little bit, and maybe you get a little bit of an overhang. And it starts to look a little bit more like a helmet that is not really sized for your head. So there you go. That's just a really simple way on how to use this mold foam, which is a product intended for a different purpose, but I think it works great for resizing caps. And again, this gets you away from having to get your cap a little wet and then hit it with heat. That's kind of the subtle shrinking method. If you don't want to deal with that, or if you've done that and you still can't get enough size out, you can always add a little bit of this material under your sweatband and take the slack out. So hopefully that gives you another tool for shrinking your caps and getting a better look and a better fit for you. Other than that, thanks for watching, and we'll see you next time.